There are plenty of big names that could retire at the end of the season, but one of those names specifically has one more shot at going for the ultimate prize, a Super Bowl ring. The Indianapolis Colts have been a weird spiral since Andrew Luck retired, leading them to sign veteran Philip Rivers in the offseason. The Colts have snuck into the playoffs as the number 7 seed after going 11-5 in the regular season. Indianapolis is a good football team, but are they good enough to get Rivers a ring? First, I'd like to acknowledge that the majority of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed to the channel. Help us out by subscribing and joining us on our way to 100K because it's coming fast, and you don't want to miss your opportunity to enlist in the J&D Army. The Indianapolis Colts finished the season 11-5, earning the number 7 seed in the playoffs. The Colts, like any team in the playoffs, will look to try to find their way to the Super Bowl. But for the Colts and an aging quarterback likely in his final season, getting Philip Rivers a ring would be an extra bonus. After 16 years with the Los Angeles Chargers, Rivers signed a 1-year, $25 million deal with the Colts in the offseason. The 39-year-old is essentially a bridge quarterback for Indianapolis this year, but for him, it's his last chance to try to win a Super Bowl if he opts to retire. Rivers has been a fantastic regular season quarterback, but he doesn't have a ring. Rivers coming to Indianapolis made sense, joining a good offense that could help propel him to the Super Bowl. He went on to pass for 4,169 yards and 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions this year. At running back, rookie Jonathan Taylor had a stellar season, finishing with 1,169 yards and 11 touchdowns. On the outside, wide receiver T.Y. Hilton is still one of the league's most reliable options. Couple him with interesting rookie Michael Pittman, and you have a solid core along with Jack Doyle at tight end. And of course, we can't forget the Colts' stout offensive line that they've been building up for years and includes arguably the best lineman in the league, Quentin Nelson. On the other side of the ball, the Colts boasted the 8th best defense in the league this season, only allowing 22.6 points per game. Indianapolis, simply put, has a stacked defense. They have one of the best linebackers in the league in Darius Leonard and feature a stacked defensive line that includes All-Pro Justin Houston and DeForest Buckner. In the offseason, the Colts went out and traded their first-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for Buckner, helping solidify their defense. Despite the star power on the defense, likely the story of the year has been cornerback Xavier Rhodes. Rhodes has been one of the most improved players in the entire league this season, essentially reviving his career during year 1 in Indianapolis. The Colts started the season about as bad as they possibly could have looking back at it now. Indianapolis dropped its week 1 matchup 27-20 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who went on to lose every game for the rest of the year. That's a game that's not worth bringing up at this point, and it's hard to judge the Colts for the loss considering they didn't get to play in the preseason and had a weird offseason due to COVID-19 that limited Rivers' reps. The biggest question for the Colts coming into the playoffs, though, is if they can actually compete with the top teams in the league. Their other 4 losses on the year have come against playoff teams. In week 5, the Colts fell to the Cleveland Browns 32-23. 4 weeks later, the Colts lost 24-10 to the Baltimore Ravens. The only true blowout that Indianapolis has had was a 45-26 loss to the Tennessee Titans. The good news, though, is that the Colts were a near different team since the end of November. Indianapolis has won 4 of their last 5, only falling to the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-24 in a game that the Colts nearly won. While Pittsburgh certainly wasn't the same team in the final few weeks of the season, it was a good sign that the Colts were able to compete with them. Indianapolis wasn't horrible against top-tier teams, though. They weren't even bad when you think about it. In week 4, the Colts downed the Chicago Bears 19-11. I know the Bears aren't a fantastic team, but remember that Chicago started the year 5-1 and that was their only loss. The Colts have had a tough road ahead of trying to even carve out a way to the AFC Championship. But if you need a reason for why they can do it, look no further than their back-to-back victories in November. In their first matchup between Indianapolis and Tennessee, the Colts managed to outscore the Titans 21-0 in the 4th quarter in an impressive 34-17 victory. That wasn't even the Colts' best win of the year, though. The next week, Indianapolis managed to force overtime against the Green Bay Packers after outscoring the Packers 17-3 in the half. In the extra period, Rodrigo Blankenship drilled a 39-yard field goal to give the Colts a win over the best team in the NFC. The Colts are a better team than a lot of people would probably give them credit for. The reality is that Philip Rivers is probably probably one of the biggest reasons why they aren't a top team in the playoffs. If Indianapolis is going to try to make a huge run in the playoffs, it's going to have to mirror the 2015 Denver Broncos model when they relied on their defense in games to will Peyton Manning to his second Super Bowl victory. The Colts' path to an AFC Championship game is a very tough one though. Indianapolis will face the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round, a team that I would consider the best team in the league right now. Unfortunately for the Colts, even if they manage to take down Buffalo, they'll be staring down the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. Not ideal if you ask me. You never know though. Last year, the Baltimore Ravens were likely the best team in the league going into the playoffs, and they lost off the bat to the Tennessee Titans, who went on to down the dynasty of the New England Patriots. Anything can happen in the playoffs, and the Indianapolis Colts are certainly hoping for some winter heroics. The Colts are a very good football team, and the task ahead is extremely difficult with having to visit the Buffalo Bills. But if the Colts can down one of the best teams of the league in Buffalo, maybe that can give them enough confidence to make a run and surprise some people. But more importantly, give Philip Rivers a shot at a Super Bowl ring. Thanks for watching. If you love J&D Productions, check out J&D Hoops, where we recently uploaded our first video. Go subscribe and hit that notification bell, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter for more J&D. We read all of our DMs and love hearing what you have to say.